Welcome to the Governance Discourse Podcast, where we discuss everything in governance from politics, leadership, public policy, civic engagement, and civic action. I'm your host, Veronica Pana Igube. Today on the podcast, we'll be discussing from group chat to government, the PLAC internship experience, the Policy and Legal Advocacy Center. PLAC organizes a 10-week full internship program for young Nigerians who wish to gain knowledge of legislative practice and the process at the Nigerian National Assembly. Some of the internship requirements are that you are a Nigerian citizen between the age of 21 to 35. You have at least a degree in any discipline in a tertiary institution. You must have completed your National Youth Service Program, computer skills, and many more. The program is based in Abuja, Nigeria, and the internship for this year is running from September to December 2025. You can visit their website at placng.org to get more details. Today on the podcast, we're having two amazing PLAC alumni leaders. I would introduce them. We have Adamu. He's a rising voice in Africans governance and international cooperation. He currently serves as the Senior Special Assistant to the Secretary General of the Conference of Speakers and President of African Legislatures. And he's a youth advisor for the AU-EU Youth Voice Lab, where he contributes to amplifying young voices in shaping inclusive policies, frameworks, and a youth-friendly society in Africa and the EU. He's also an inaugural African representative of the UNODC General Justice Youth Network. I can go on and on about all the amazing things he has done. He's also has participated in high-level campaigns and advocacy initiatives, including the hashtag #SheVotesToDemocracy conveying, Time is Now Africa. He belongs to several prestigious fellowships like the Nigerian Prize for Leadership, the Open Minds, Young Voices, the Legislative Mentorship Initiative, and as well as the PLAC Initiative as well. Thank you very much, Hashim, for joining us on the podcast today.
Hello, Veronica. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, really.
I usually call him my landlord because he's from Abuja and I live in Abuja. So I always greet him and say, hi, landlord. So it's always a pleasure to have you. Our second alumni is Hussaina Shehu. She's a passionate communication professional with a strong background in media, broadcasting, content creation, and community engagement. She currently works as a radio broadcaster and presenter at Ultimate FM Radio, where she engages over 1,000 listeners across diverse communities. Her work has shaped her ability to craft and deliver compelling, accessible messages that informs, inspires, and drives public action around community health, gender equality, democracy, and good governance. She has also gained valuable experience in advocacy, project cooperation, and policy engagement through her work with organizations like YAGA, Yali Africa, PLAC, and the Legislative Mentorship Initiative. She's also an alumni of PLAC and is such an amazing opportunity to have you guys on the podcast to talk about the PLAC internship. So the PLAC internship just recently opened and it's good to have you guys to talk about it. I'll start with you, Hussaina. What drew you to governance and policy, and why did you feel that the PLAC internship was the right fit for you?
All right, thank you so much, Veronica. So I'll just go like this. While I was in university, because immediately after my university, I got to apply for, after my NYSC, sorry, I got to apply for PLAC. And that was even before I got my discharge certificate. So while I was in school, in the university, my 200 level, I was given a leadership role in the MSSN. So I served MSSN, Muslim Students of Nigerian Society, from 200 level to 400 level. So I did a lot of, I played a lot of leadership role just to cut it short, I gained about 5 certificates before I graduated from the university. So a friend of mine, after I think it was a month to the end of my service, and I was worried. I was like, the moment I got the 2 month, because then, that was 2020, 2021. Then NYC, I don't know how they do it now. If you were to leave by February, then by January, they are going to give you the allowance for February. I don't know if you understand. So then we're getting 30,000, right? 30,000, yeah. And then they pay us about 60,000 or so. So immediately I got that allowance, I was like, oh, that's the end. I'm doomed. What next? How am I going to get a job? Like, a lot of things were just running through my mind. And a friend of mine said, Hussaina, I saw this PLAC internship. Come and apply. And I was like, those people, no, not apply, because I know how it is. That mentality of if you don't know anybody, you not get anything. He was like, just apply. I was like, okay, if you want me to apply, I just click on the link and I was like, write statement of interest. And I was like, which one is this one again? He said, just write anything. You have leadership. I said, which leadership? He said, I thought you said you MSS and you did something. And I was like, oh, yeah, there's something like that. And then there was no ChatGPT. So I just had to sit down, start writing. I'll start writing how I got the role from my CGP, how I did because I was the academic secretary. I also did editorial. I was also a broadcaster. So just a whole lot. So I had to put them together and I sent it to him to help me read and edit. So he read, he edited it, and he was like, okay, that's fine. And it was within the stipulated amount of words. So I did it and I, just sent it. And I applied with that. So what I would say from the story I've given you, I think the answer was right from the university, I've always been at the forefront of being in a position where I had to be in a team that we need to lead something. I don't want to say I need to lead, but I had to be in a team where I had to lead. So I think that prompts me and that gave me words to put in my application. Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, it's amazing to hear your story of how, you from the university and how your NYSC and how that action leads to applying for PLAC. I mean, going forward, we'll hear some of the lessons you learned. But Hashim, I also like to hear what motivated you to apply as well, and how did you discover it?
Hello, Veronica. Thank you really very much once again. And of course, hi, Hussaina. Super nice to connect with you here once again. Well, I think my story is not quite different from that which Hussaina narrated. But interestingly, in my own case, I just have a few opportunities to show my leadership skills back then in the university. And interestingly, when I graduated, I think I was in the 2021 cohort, so that's like post NSAS. So how young people were at the forefront then of saying this and that and all. So I think there's really this disconnect, you understand, between the citizens and of course what's largely going on. So when I saw the opportunity, I was like, okay, yeah, maybe I should give this a trial. And I think I drafted my application to and shared with somebody to help me review. And then, sure, I did submit my application. But one lesson I think I learned is that PLAC were not necessarily looking out for who is ready-made, like you are out there in the civic space and doing. I think they are just largely looking for, should I say, potential. You understand? So it's not like they want somebody who is really there. They just want to see that credibility. Are you there? Do you have the potential to lead? I remember vividly. I think I just had one volunteering experience. It's just less than 6 months when I submitted my application. And yeah, I did apply once and I got it. Though yeah, it's one of this back and forth engagement. But largely, I think if you ask me, I think my own motivation is really more about that conviction to be at the forefront of contributing to conversations, discussions, and then seeing how we can influence policies, of course, and public opinion from the inside. Thank you, and over.
I mean, it's interesting that you joined at a critical point where we had the NSAS movement as well, and we had agitations from young people on governance. So, what from your experience at PLAC, how did it change your look towards governance and politics as well? Hashim?
Okay. Oh, yeah. Thank you very much. I just want to know if you are asking me that question or it's for Hussaina. Well, really, thank you really for again for that question. I think there's this thing I tell people that there's this large misconception between what's happening in the National Assembly and, of course, the reality that's really going on in the National Assembly. I think first, it's actually helped me to my experience actually helped to break that barrier. You understand to bring it closer so you can see how things really happen from the National Assembly, not just hearing public opinion, like they say, and not WhatsApp messages flying here and there and all that. So I think it actually helped to break that barrier. And also it helps to give me a network of experienced resource persons and professionals to connect with in driving some conversation. And thanks to you, I think you're one of the good examples of this research paper you contributed on crime prevention and criminal justice. I'm happy to share that the work has been published. So largely it's helped one, if you ask me, to bridge that barrier between the assumption of like misconception that's outside and inside, and of course it helps to gain access to experiences as persons and professionals, which largely is driving the work that I'm doing currently, and more again it's helped me also to see the technicalities involved in the issue of lawmaking and policy influence, and largely the legislature as a whole, and of course, the current talk I do around the legislative aspect of government. So, thank you very much, Anuba.
I mean, it's interesting, Hashim, to learn about, sometimes once you get involved, you get a different look, an outlook, or a view about things. So normally when we see governance from outside, it's easier for us to judge. But when we go inside and see the intricacies and the work that goes in, then it's better that we appreciate it. And once you get yourself involved, then you see yourself contributing and making a difference. And that's really, really beautiful. So, Hussaina, I would like to hear from you. What was some of the most valuable lessons that you learned, that you took away with the PLAC internship? And also, what was one experience that from the mentorship that was amazing for you? I know there are different aspects of it.
Yeah, there are different aspects, but then let me just share you this. So, during the point of placement, I studied biochemistry, so I was posted to the committee for drugs and narcotics. When the first day when I got there, the man looked at me and he was like, "Welcome, Hajia." I said, "Thank you, sir." He said, "You are from PLAC, right?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Okay. Now you can see the money that people are saying we are eating, right? People come and eat it with us." I laughed. He said, "Yes, is that what people used to say outside? That oh, National Assembly, they used to eat money and all of that." I laughed. He said, "Welcome, and I hope you enjoy your experience here." So with that, it just opened my mind that, as in that was just the first, that welcome, that few statements gave me, like, oh, my sister, what you think is happening outside is actually far different from what is going on. So to share my experience, I think I got to understand better. In fact, during PLAC was the first time I went to the National Assembly. I didn't know, I just saw it on the TV, but I didn't know how it looks out, everything. But PLAC actually made me to see the National Assembly for the first time. And then, coming back, when I was, before going to PLAC, I actually thought that the honorables, the House of Representatives, the Senate President, just go there, don't do anything, and then they come back to tell us that, nothing, But going to PLAC, I got to see that even you as an honorable, you can't just, I have an idea, I want to do something in my community. I got to understand it doesn't just work that way. You have to follow through the process. Imagine you have an idea you want to do for your community, you've promised them you want to do, and then coming to the National Assembly, you discover that, in fact, your bill got to the second reading, but then gets to the third reading, it got bounced back because you didn't lobby well. So there's a lot of experience. There's a lot of, experience. And from that plaque, I got to stop judging honorables and senators when they don't get to do a certain project. I give them a benefit of doubt because of my experience and knowledge that, okay, maybe they didn't have a good legal drafter that will help them to draft these bills and motion. And, aside that, there would be also something that they must have done in their community, not necessarily project. But yeah, and then one of the most beautiful experience I got was through PLAC bi-weekly. So we have every Friday, there's this bi-weekly we normally had, and give us after National Assembly from Monday to Thursday, and then Fridays are for bi-weekly. So the Fridays is to give us lectures about, they call some honorables to the National Assembly to come guide us, how we're going to find our way, and also some professional courses like how to draft a winning CV. Yes, I remember vividly. So during that session, he was teaching us how to draft CVs, what are the things that need to be done on CV. And then he said, LinkedIn. How many of you are on LinkedIn? I remember Hashimu raising up his hand and I was like, this guy, so he knows LinkedIn. So he told us that, okay, get your LinkedIn, this is how you go about it, do this and do that. And I think that was the time I opened my LinkedIn. And since then, it's been an amazing experience. Thank you.
I mean, it's beautiful to see how when we don't get involved in this experience, you see how it changes us, it shapes us. And from your story that you shared, you can see how even the little thing as just opening a LinkedIn account, you benefited and how to make your CV. So they're not only empowering you on legislative processes as well as the legislature, how it works, but they're also building and investing in your capacity development. Hashim, I also love to hear about you, like what was one of like the standout aspects from the internship for you? And can you just like give us a brief of other parts of the internship as well? Just kind of highlight it. And I mean, I would like to know, like, for people who are applying, what was it that you didn't do that you wish that you did in the fellowship, so that they can also learn from it going forward if they get accepted?
Thank you, Veronica. I think this 3-in-1, or should I say 4-in-1 questions. Okay, but really, thanks again. For a start, I think a lot of moments actually stood out for me. But interestingly, I was posted to, I think, House Committee on Petroleum Resources upstream. And I remember the first day I reported to that committee, I met this young gentleman who served as my supervisor, and he's a book lover, like, oh. So there's this connection already that we did establish. So throughout the engagement, I think some of my birthdays, he bought me books as gifts, yeah, including this prestigious From Third World to First World by Lee Kuan Yew. I think it was one of the birthday gifts I received from him. So, and again, an interesting moment throughout the internship was, I think, one time our committee having this hearing with MDAs, and really the committee members did open that floor for me to contribute directly. So I was handling documentations, like really sensitive documents. So for me, it's more of there's this trust already and responsibility. They were not just seeing me, if you like, say as an intern. They took me in like very part of their what's it called? Very part of their member of the committee. And regarding issue of what I think I should have done or maybe do differently, then of course we are humans, and sometimes they say you don't know the value of what you have until you no longer have it, right? Um, the truth is, there are lots of opportunities back then I think I should have seized. Really, PLAC just opened the door for you, then you take it up from there. And I think a couple of times, then I do go to the gallery to watch public hearing, to watch the sittings, and of course. But what I would have advised anybody going in is to just be there to, nobody's going to call you to do this, to do that. Show up, you understand? Show them that you are ready, you understand, you are ready to take it. Like, you don't need to be invited like to some of the things. Yeah, of course, it's an institution with decade of experience and everything, but you just have to be stepping into the institution with also be there, show that respect, and then don't be intimidated. Attend to those sidelines meetings, the public hearings, go to other committees. I think I remember this Hussein, I was within Husseina's committee. I was even listening to some public accounts here, public petition or something like that. Yeah, so these things actually, it gives you that compendium of experience again. I really did just a few of them then. So I would really advise, if you're going in, and to really explore some of these opportunities. And finally, if you are submitting your application, please, if there is just one thing you're taking from all this discussion we'll be having, is follow the rules. Just follow the rules. I literally do not know anybody in PLAC. If yes, and just if they say 2 pages, do it 2 pages. 1 page is do it 1 page. If they say put comma here, put that comma there. You understand? Just follow the rules. Like, these guys, they know what they are doing, and they are not ready to compromise for anybody. So not for you, and definitely not for me then. So please, let's just follow the rules, and then I really do hope that you will find this helpful. Thank you, and over, Veronica.
Thank you, landlord. I mean, like, this just shows us that meritocracy works, right? The selection process, they're picking you based on merit. They're picking you based on the criteria that they've set. And as Hashima said, follow the criteria, follow it to the tooth and nail. And I mean, one thing I also learned from what you said is come prepared, right? Have a strategy. What do you want to do with this internship? Research. I mean, that's why we're having these conversations, to prepare you kind of like, when you're going somewhere, what do you want to gain from this internship? What do you want to learn from it? What impact do you want to have? I think that once you write things down, it's easier for you to follow them, because then you have a vision that you're looking up to achieve, as opposed to just going in blanket without having a plan. Hussein, I'll come to you. There are a lot of young women, who shy away from politics, or even who want to get involved but don't know how to. I know PLAC is creating this experience, but what will you say to young women who are listening right now and who are unsure if this is the space for them, if they want to get into politics or they even just want to learn about the legislature? What advice would you give them?
All right, thank you so much, Veronica. So my advice for them is, there's just a lot of advice. Okay, let me bring in myself. So when I go to PLAC, during our onboarding, we had an election. In fact, the day we came to PLAC, I think the day we were lodged, after, was it a night or after the dinner? I can't really remember, but I think it was during the week of our onboarding. So they told us that we're going to be having an election that week, and they gave us the principal officers that we need to elect. And I came up for minority leader. So I won the post for minority leader. Yes, but I was not having an opponent. But then I for the fact that I was able to say, okay, I want to be the minority leader, I think that was a step for me. And that guided me through all my stay in PLAC. Even during the point of our rehearsals, there was this section. I was not a lawyer, but then I got to learn the section that speak against minority leaders, and also it also shaped me in a way that I got to understand governance. I got to understand like I said, I was a biochemistry student, so I got to understand law. I got to understand democracy. I got to understand a whole lot, that even if tomorrow I want to say, okay, I'm competing for this position in a political space, I already know the channel through I'm going to learn the remaining process I want to learn, So for women out there who wants to learn about legislative, democracy, or politics, all I would say is, if you don't come out to learn the technical process, it's actually going to be difficult for you to go into the practical aspect of politics, because it's not just about saying you want to come out and be you want to be, let's say, chairman, councillor, or whatever positions you have in your mind, it's still very good. You learn the technical process of how these things work. How did they, even if you're a local chairwoman, whatever position you want to hold, the technical process is very, very important, because of course you won't just be sitting in your office all the time. You have to go out to present your people. There's a time where you have to speak to the honorable representing your community, your constituency, the senators. You need to engage with them. In a situation where you don't have the technical process, how do you want to do that? And even if you employ people to do it for you, now, I also got to learn that most of the honorables, like the ones that I've seen that they're really doing okay, they know the process. But to spread the work across, they get legislative aids that is going to make their work easier. Now, the legislative aid, they employ them to help them work. Or what they do now is to guide or see what the legislative aid does. In a situation where you don't know this technical process and the legislative aid is not doing their work, how would you even follow up? How would you monitor? There's no monitoring and evaluation in your work. There's nothing. So yes, as a woman, I would advise, go through the technical process of politics, democracy, governance before coming out for any position, because that's very, very important. It's not about the number of times you follow to rally. It's not about the number of times you attend meetings. Just go through the technical process, learn how these things work. And I bet you, when the time comes for you to, go for any election, it's just going to be seamless. Thank you.
Thank you for that, because what I got from that was capacity building. Once you build and lead with capacity and excellence, it has a way of having a rippling effect. Like you said, learning the ropes of what to do, right? And there's one quote that sometimes always drives me is do it afraid. So many times I've started things, I've gone into programs, or even at work, sometimes you're scared to start something. You're like, oh, is this going to work? But one thing I've learned along the way is that I always tell myself, even when I feel that fear or that butterflies in my tummy before something, I just tell myself, do it afraid. And I can testify, and I'm sure you can all testify that once you do it, oh my God, sometimes you can't even believe the capacity that you have within yourself. So, as Hussaina has said, as young girls, do it afraid. Apply and put yourself out there, because this is the opportunity for you to build your capacity to be a leader with excellence, right? Hussaina, sorry, I would like to come back to you as well. At the National Assembly, we also have this balance of, the conversation of we need more women in governance. When you worked there, what did you observe about the dynamics of women who were interning in the political space? What did PLAC do to ensure that there was a gender balance between male applicants and female applicants as well? And I also love to hear what bill or policy during your time was really interesting for you.
All right, thank you so much. So during my time, I think we even had more females than male, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Hashimu, if I'm wrong, you can correct me. I think we have more females than men. And in fact, the lady that won speaker was a female. Yeah, we had the female speaker. Her name was Victoria. Yes, her name was Victoria, and she did excellently well. I'm assuming I had the video here to play for you during our model legislative practical. She did excellently well. To come and see how she was just this bill is it was okay. And aside gender being aside the gender balance that PLAC took note of, there was also inclusion of persons with disability. In fact, our clerk then was a persons with disability. He was a deaf and dumb person. So he had an aide that was helping me to read all the step-by-step bill. The process where a bill is to become a law, then the speaker had to come down. So that process, the clerk, I think the clerk has to start reading the bill one by one, something like that. He had to get an aide that would help. There was an aide that was, interpreting everything that he was trying to communicate, and that was fantastic. But then when I came into the National Assembly, aside the PLAC, when I came to the National Assembly, to be honest, the women in the chambers were really small. Coming from the House of Representatives, they were really small because I didn't have the opportunity to attend the plenary session for the Senate House, but I did attend for the House of Representatives. And that time, Bajabi Amila was the Speaker of the House of Representatives. So the women there were really small, even if you don't get to see all the house, all the members in every plenary, except maybe they want to do budgeting or something really serious in the National Assembly. There you get to see all the members. But the few times I went to the plenary session, the number of women there are really small. And the crazy thing now is, in the National Assembly, when you want your bill to be passed, it's very important you lobby. You understand? And let's say I'm a lady, I'm in the National Assembly, I want to lobby for a bill for my constituency. Imagine where my own kind of gender are very few. My bill is good. If a man would actually take maybe just few percent of his energy to lobby, his bill is going to pass. Okay, me will call a lady. How am I going to do it? So it's just a lot of thing, and I'm happy that the National Assembly is actually considering this, that women should be given seats in the in the House of Representatives, which is really, really great, because honestly, it is not easy for a woman to be in the National Assembly. It takes a whole lot of work, but I believe that women have been doing it and they will continue to do it. In fact, not just only in Nigeria, but in Africa, women always have limited slot when it comes to the parliament. And I really hope that, years to come, things change and then things get better. But in everything I want to say is that you as a woman, you just have to be there. You were even there and people are trying to say you are not there. So what if you're even trying to, stand up for yourself and people are trying to say, oh, we didn't see you, you didn't come. So what if you're not even making any attempts? What will be of you in the next few years to come? Because it's not really about now. It's about what will come off. Yeah. So yeah, thank you. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you, Hussaina. I mean, it's interesting to see like the inclusiveness of PLAC as well in including gender, being gender sensitive as well, and also including persons with disabilities, someone with a hearing impairment. I mean, it was lovely to hear that as well. And it's also good. I mean, you had the conversation. So right now there's a constitutional reform and there's the reserved seat bill, which is currently before the National Assembly as well. There've been a lot of conversations about that as well. The public hearings, the zonal public hearings are presently going on. Yes, they're currently
Yeah. I want to share something with you. It's personal.
Okay,
But I think sharing it here is going to help a lot.
great.
So it's also part of inclusivity and how PLAC has been really transparent. So before my interview, I told my friend, okay, and he was like, Hussaina, when I went to the interview, it seems the people there they are Christians and they are Igbos. When you are going, don't wear your long hijab. And I was like, really? Are you sure? He said, yes, now. Maybe if you don't wear your long hijab, you can put something small if maybe you get selected. And I was like, Omo, I actually feel confident sometimes when I wear this my long hijab. Or it's not because of anything, but because that's just the way I'm used to dressing. He said, well, I'm just advising you. I said, okay, no problem. I thought about it. So I was having that dilemma. I really want to be selected, of course, but I want to feel confidence during the interview. So there are two things involved. I spoke to my auntie. My auntie said, well, just go with whatever you have. I think what matters most is for you to be decent, and secondly, what you have to say to them. And lo and behold, I went, and the interview went smoothly. It was fine. They asked me a lot of questions. But trust me, when I came out, I was not having hope. Because I said, I don't know, I wouldn't have put on my long hijab. Maybe that was actually good. After an interview, and then you start marking your scale, scaling yourself from the dressing you went to the way you answer the question. But then I was happy that I was selected. And that would just clear my doubts that, PLAC are really inclusive and they mean it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was good hearing your voices. I wish all the best to those who are applying. We have come to the end of today's episode. I would just like to hear one word from you. What advice do you give young people who want to get into governance and politics from both of you? Hashim, you could go first, I think.
Okay, thank you, really, Veronica. But before that, please permit me to just share a short story too related to the interview. I think when we say PLAC are really transparent and inclusive, we mean it. Everybody has one or two personal experiences with them. For me, the same interview, I think it was really running late. I think it should be around 6 p.m. or so. And then everybody, it seems everybody's coming up from, everybody, it's really competitive. And I think, is it Omodara? I think one of the deputy came, she was a program manager then. So it's like, we are really running late. Who is from very far place? And I raised my hand up. I'm coming from Abuja, and you know how far that is. And she was like, okay, guys, please, we need to allow this guy to take his interview. And man, it's really like, there's this sense of, consideration that came with. So I think they're really transparent and inclusive and considerate. So thank you really for that opportunity. And of course, for my advice, I would really love to streamline it to the National Assembly. And of course, people who gladly, or should I say, hopefully will get selected for this opportunity. The truth is, my advice is National Assembly is a place with like competing priorities. Like it's this environment where you have a lot of things going on that's just simultaneous at the same time. And if you are invited, if you are selected rather for the internship, please do not wait to be relevant. You understand? Do not wait at the sidelines. It's actually the mistake some of us did make then, but of course I'm a part of them because I really did utilize the opportunity very well. So please go there, ask questions, volunteer, show up. And of course, yeah, you gotta be humble. Of course, you're stepping into an institution with a decade of experience, and also respect people, be there, show up, and just be you and go lead. Thank you, and over, Veronica.
Okay, Hussaina, over to you.
All right, thank you, Veronica. So there's a question you asked, and I forgot to answer that, which was the bill that stood out for me during the internship. So the bill that stood out for me during the internship was not my bill, was not my group bill, but which was a bill about family planning. How to call population in Nigeria. So they were suggesting family planning. My brothers from the north, they were like, no, that's not possible. We have to give birth as much as we can. So it was an interesting conversation we had during that time. Okay, sorry about that. So the bill that stood out for me was the bill that they were trying to make family planning compulsory. And of course, my northern brothers were like, no, we need to give birth as much as we can. And then the conversation was really interesting. I truly enjoyed that because I got to learn a lot of process, a lot of bills and different work. Just the research they did on that bill was really interesting. And then what I have to say to, applicants who are willing to come into the PLAC program is just be yourself. Don't lie about anything. Because I remember during my interview, I never knew that my CV was projected. I was backing the projector. I sat down. Then I saw the interviewers looking up. When they look up, they look at me. I was like, what are these people looking? Until one of the interviewer was now looking at, he said, we can see on your CV here. And it just struck on me that my CV was being projected. And I was like, imagine I was lying. It's just going to be a whole lot for me. And then also, just try as much as you can. Just as Hashim said, nobody's going to call you that is work. Nobody's going to, disturb you. Like, decide not to go to the National Assembly till you end of your PLAC. You can escape that. But then, the price you have to pay, you must be ready for that. Because I remember during my time, the committee I was posted to, we didn't have any work. So I have to be going from, sometimes I go to Hashim's, office to see what he's doing. I go to public hearing. Sometimes I go to plenary. And most times I go to one of my friends' committee So they normally have a lot of work. So I go, I help them. Even her boss was like, Hussaina, are you sure they'll not bring you here? I said no. So through all that, there was a lot of things I learned. Sometimes in a week I'll go to like 3 different committees. I'll just go to my committee, I'll greet my boss. Is there any work? He says no. I'll start calling my friends. Or sometimes I posted on the group chat, please, whose committee is active? Or this one say, my committee is active. Come. I'll go, I'll learn, and that was a whole lot for me. And that really helps me because at the end of the program, you need to write a technical report. So imagine you've not been going to the PLAC. Where is the technical report going to come out from? And everybody with their different committee. Even if you want to copy, how do you want to do that? And aside that, again, there's your CV you need to write. You need to include PLAC on your CV. The process where you don't have much work, then I don't think there's much to be in your CV. So all this actually plays a very role from your CV to the technical report to your experience sharing. You just have to do something to be able to achieve all of this. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Hussaina and Hashim, for coming to the podcast and sharing your opinions with us, sharing your experience about the PLAC internship. I mean, it was very beautiful hearing both of you speak. I mean, you speak with capacity and excellence as well. And some of the stories and the lessons that you shared with us have been very, very, very interesting. I mean, I've learned a lot just from you. I mean, one of the conversations, that you people both stressed, during the conversation was the intentionality. You have to be intentional in what you do. I mean, Hussaina, you said like how you had to look for different, committees that were working. I mean, that's taking initiative as well. And that's problem solving skills there for you because you saw a problem and you said, okay, how can I address this problem? It's by speaking up. I mean, Hashim, pointed out that you need to show up, you need to be intentional. So as young people, let's take the advice to show up, to do it afraid. So thank you very much. I do appreciate my LMI brothers and sisters for joining me on this conversation as well and sharing your thoughts and experience from the PLAC internship. If you want to apply for the PLAC internship, I will drop it in the comment section, but you can also visit plac.org to learn about the organization, what they do, the application criteria, and applying before the deadline expires. I want to thank you both for coming on the podcast. It was really inspiring and interesting hearing from you.
Thank you so much, Veronica, and lovely to have this discussion with Hussaina.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Veronica. Thank you, Hashi. It was nice having you guys. Bye.
Bye.